The Iberian Peninsula is now experiencing an intense heat wave with temperatures surpassing 40 degrees Celsius, following the end to an abnormally long stretch of extreme heat across the Balkans and other parts of Eastern Europe. Today I'll be giving you the latest information on everything you need to know for the week ahead, with some of the main headlines including further heat relief and much needed rainfall arriving in the east, while the pest from the west remains active. All of this will culminate to very interesting changes starting this weekend and possibly lasting into August. So I'll briefly discuss that in chapter 3 of this video. We have lots of information to cover today, so without further delay, please enjoy chapter 1. We're starting this off today with a photo sent in by Lemmy earlier this summer, and it was actually from an outbreak of severe thunderstorms which occurred in Romania on June 13th, 2024. Off in the distance, you can see the leading edge of a thunderstorm complex which went on to produce a swath of wind damage and large hail across southern Romania and northern Bulgaria. Romania will be in the midst of a pretty active thunderstorm pattern this week, as you'll see later on, so I thought this picture fit well in this video. In this edition of Extreme Weather Events Worldwide, we're heading over to Southeast Asia, an area impacted very heavily by monsoonal rainfall. Every year, roughly between May and November, torrential rainfall due to thunderstorms and tropical cyclones is very common across many countries. In more recent years, the typical monsoon has become more and more aggressive, which is exactly what we've seen over the last few months, resulting in major flooding. To put this into perspective, this is the rainfall forecast just between July 23rd and August 2nd. As much as 500 millimeters or more of rainfall is in the forecast wherever you see pink, and in Taiwan a powerful cyclone is coming in, so that will be the main culprit for the major rainfall accumulation in the area. Speaking of the tropics, we shouldn't have any issues in the North Atlantic this week since Saharan dust has invaded the main development region. Nonetheless, weather model guidance is showing signs of tropical activity returning in August, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for more updates on this in the coming weeks. It must sound like a broken record at this point, but the week will begin with the intrusion of more Atlantic low pressure. A system that arrived last week is now located north of Iceland, and the associated cold front extends down to mainland Europe, resulting in heavy rain and thunderstorms. At the same time, a weak low-pressure area which moved quickly over Ireland and the UK on Monday has transitioned into the North Sea today, so this will result in widespread downpours and generally non-severe storms over Germany and parts of the Benelux countries. Between Wednesday and Thursday, the system will collide with the stalled front located roughly between Ukraine and Finland, basically joining forces and resulting in dense storm coverage across the Balkans on both of those days. This is also right when I expect a further decrease in high temperatures over this area, and those light blue shades spreading from Central Europe down to Romania and Bulgaria suggest the potential for below average temperatures. Additionally, by Friday, I think we will see thunderstorm coverage in the Balkans decrease as all the activity shifts into the Black Sea. And then in northwestern Europe, a large low-pressure system from the Atlantic which arrived on Wednesday will keep it occasionally wet and cloudy throughout the rest of the week. Compared to recent weeks, severe storms will honestly not be as prevalent. Even still, portions of Italy and a corridor from Finland through the Baltic countries and then down to the Balkans will have the best chance. It's also worth mentioning that even if you aren't included in the risk areas on this graphic, it doesn't mean that severe weather is entirely out of the question. It just means that the threat will be too low. For example, widespread thunderstorms are possible today in Germany and parts of the Benelux countries, but atmospheric conditions aren't expected to be favorable for severe weather, and therefore this region is not included on this map. As far as rainfall totals go for the next 5 days, eastern Finland into a large part of northwest Russia will be dry, while Iceland and the Scandinavian peninsula sees very persistent rain. The British Isles and Ireland can expect a mixed bag of weather this week, with rain coming in the form of passing showers, most of them being relatively light and being confined to coastal and mountainous areas. Most of Iberia will be dry, with the same being true across the Mediterranean. Then the corridor from the Baltic countries down to the Balkans will see widespread rainfall due to thunderstorms, with locally higher amounts possible in areas that see repeated rounds of storms. So how will all this rain compare to average? Well, in northwestern Russia and eastern Finland, it's going to be well below the historical average, with the same being true in the Alps, with at least slightly drier conditions wherever you see tan. On the other hand, Iceland, Scandinavia, and the Baltic countries, as well as many countries between Greece and Kazakhstan could experience more precipitation than usual, and the darker shades of green indicate where this will be more noticeable. Regarding temperatures, the forecast for this week will differ in some ways when you compare the forecast I made for last week, which is being shown on the screen right now. Some key differences which I mentioned in the introduction will be the decrease in temperature over the Balkans, while Iberia and northern portions of the Nordic countries see significantly higher temperatures. Cooler weather will still be present for the most part, especially over the UK and Ireland, so this is unfortunately unchanged for this week. But if you are hoping for more sustained warm weather to return, I just might have some good news coming up in Chapter 3. To start this section of the forecast, this is a longer range temperature outlook I made for the week of July 29th through August 3rd. Widespread above normal temperatures will continue across most of Europe, with perhaps a more notable development being the orange shade including a large part of the UK, as the blue shade becomes much less widespread, potentially indicating a chance for more persistent warmth. As you can see on this map, the pests from the west will unfortunately continue into August, which may make some wonder how warmer weather will even be a possibility. The main reason for this is actually the potential for a more northerly storm track, which could push the storms right through Iceland and the Northern Isles, advecting warmer air from the south into the vicinity of Ireland and the UK. Remember that the exact path of these storms will heavily impact how warm it gets, so any shift in the storm track from one model run to another will create very different potential outcomes. For this reason, further updates to this forecast will be necessary, and the information I presented in this section of the forecast should be taken lightly at this point in time. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider subscribing so you never miss the latest updates. If you're already subscribed, thanks for tuning back in, and consider leaving a like and sharing the video with those who may find it useful. With that said, I'll see you on the next one.